This is the privacy policy that came with a brand new car. I printed the whole thing out. Go ahead and look at that stack. And buried in here, better than 2/3 of the way down, there's a section with a heading that reads, Categories of Personal Information We Collect. It's a list. And I am going to sit here and read that list to you out loud, line by line, the way it is actually written. And I need you to promise me you won't click off when I do, because there are 3 or 4 things on this list that I read the first time and had to read again out loud just to believe them. After this, you are not going to sit in your own car quite the same way again. Here we go. Now, before I start reading, let me be fair, because I try to be a fair man. Some of what's on here, I understand. My car knows where I am, so the map works. It knows where the dealership is, so it can pester me about an oil change. Fine. That is not what put me on edge. What put me on edge is everything else on this list. Every line that has nothing, and I mean nothing, to do with driving an automobile. So let's read it together, and you tell me where a car could possibly need it. First line I want to read you, and I'm not starting here just to shock you. This is genuinely near the top of these categories. Sexual activity. 2 major brands, Nissan and Kia, put it in their written privacy policy that they may collect information about your sexual activity, your sex life, in the paperwork, for a car. I set that page down on the bench the first time, and I said out loud to nobody in the shop, that cannot be right. It is right. Don't take my word for it. Pause this video, go type in Nissan privacy policy, sexual activity, and read it with your own eyes. I'll be here when you get back. Next line down, genetic information. 6 of these car brands claim the right to it. Genetic. The folks who studied these policies couldn't even explain how a car would get hold of your genes, only that the policy hands the company the right to have them if they can. Keep reading. Biometric information. And let me tell you what that word covers, because it's worse spelled out. Face geometry, taken off the little camera some of these newer cars now point right at the driver's seat. Voice prints off the microphone sitting in your cabin, the one that's there so you can say, "Call my wife," without touching the phone. Fingerprints, retina scans. That is not a scene from a spy movie. That is the list, in the glove box, in writing. And it keeps right on going, down into the stuff you would never even think to worry about. Financial information. Your card numbers, your purchase history, what you bought and where you bought it, your account logins and your passwords, your home address, naturally. And here's one that stopped me flat. On some of these, the codes to your garage door. Sit with that one a second. The car knows the code that opens your house. Then a little further down, there's a line that reads, Audio, electronic, and visual information, which is a lawyer's tidy little way of saying recordings. Recordings. Of what, you might ask? Well, that brings me to the cameras. Everybody knows about the backup camera. That one's required by law, fair enough. But most of these cars carry cameras all the way around them now, and a growing number have one aimed inside, right at the driver's face, running what they call a driver monitoring system. And here's the part that turned my stomach. That forward camera, the one watching the road, when you pull nose first into your garage, it is staring straight into your garage and sometimes right on through into your house. There are cars that sit parked in your own driveway and keep those cameras rolling. I do not want a camera running 24 hours a day inside my own garage, and I sure did not think I was buying one when I walked in for a truck. Let me keep going, because it does not let up. Race, immigration status, your health information, and then the one every single car has on you, geolocation, not just where you are right this minute, everywhere you have ever driven this car and every place you've parked it with the times stamped on. How fast you were going, how hard you stood on the brakes, whether you had your seat belt buckled. Yes, that gets written down, and it can be handed over. And then, right at the bottom of the section, the catch-all they all slip in. And inferences drawn from any of the above. Meaning they don't just keep what's on the list, they keep every guess they can manufacture from it. You hand them 100 facts about your day, and they build 1,000 more. So the question just about asks itself, doesn't it? Why on God's green earth would a car company want your sex life, your face, your genes, your religion? None of that gets you to work and back. And the answer is the same answer as always: money. One consulting outfit put the value of selling car data at around $750 billion by the year 2030. Billion with a B. To put a number that big in plain English, there is more money in knowing about you than there was in the steel and the glass and the rubber they built the whole car out of. Somewhere along the way, the vehicle quit being the product they sell you. You became the product. The car is just the rolling vending machine, and the thing it dispenses all day, every day, is you. So they collect it. And here is exactly what they do with it once they have it. And these are the numbers straight from the group that sat down and read all 25 of these policies. 84% of the brands shared your data with outside companies. 76% flat out sold it. And 56% said they would hand it over to law enforcement on request. And request can mean a judge's order, or it can mean an officer simply asking nicely. This is not some glitch in the system. This is the system. And in case you're sitting there thinking, well, they collect it, but surely nobody's actually buying this stuff, one of them already got caught red-handed. General Motors was collecting this exact kind of driving data off millions of cars and selling it to 2 data brokers who packaged it up and sold it on to the insurance industry. One owner pulled his own file. It ran 258 pages, 640 separate trips. He only went digging because his insurance had jumped 21% for no reason he could see. So this is not a hypothetical about what they might do someday. It already happened to real people with real money out of their pockets. That list I just read you isn't a worst case. It's a receipt. And I'll give you the kicker because it tells you everything about the shelf you're choosing off of. The people who read all 25 of these said Nissan's policy was one of the creepiest they had ever laid eyes on. And even Nissan still came out looking better than Tesla. All 25 failed the review. Not one of them passed. Not a single one. These are not the shady off-brands either. Ford's on the list. Toyota, Subaru, BMW. The badge sitting in your driveway right now. Now let me tell you how you agreed to all this, because technically you did. You remember buying the car, signing the stack at the finance desk, setting up the app out in the lot so your phone would pair, tapping accept, accept, accept so you could just drive home. That right there is where it happened. Nobody at that desk read you the paragraph about genetic information. I spent years on a dealer floor, and I never one time watched a salesman turn to a customer and say, "Now, before you sign, this here lets us make a note of your sex life." It isn't that they lied to your face, it's that the truth was 30 pages deep in a document built on purpose so that you would never, ever read it. I only read this one because that is the job now, reading the pages they are betting you won't. So what do you actually do about it? You can't rewrite their policy. That's their paper on their terms. But you can choke off what feeds it. Get into your car's settings, into connected services and data privacy, and switch off every data sharing toggle you can find. Then do the very same thing in the phone app because the app and the car keep separate switches on purpose. If you want to go further, there's a physical part behind your dash doing the actual transmitting, and I've got a whole other video on how folks pull it. And you can go straight to the brokers these companies sell to, LexisNexis, Verisk. Request your file and file to opt out. And while you're at it, ask for your Clue report too. That's a claims history file the insurance world keeps on you that almost nobody's ever heard of. None of that unwrites what's already been taken, but it closes the tap going forward. And the simplest thing of all, think twice before you plug or pair one more thing into that car. Because understand me here, this is not one rotten brand you can just steer around. It was all 25. The policy on your car and the policy on your neighbor's different badge car say very nearly the same thing. This is just how the whole industry quietly decided to do business while the rest of us were busy driving. I'm Hank, about 40 years turning wrenches, the last stretch of it on a dealer floor, and no manufacturer pays me, no dealer, no sponsor, which is exactly why I'll read you the page they'd rather you never turned to. Do me a favor, put your make and your year down in the comments, and I'll tell you straight what your car's policy claims the right to take off you, because I've got a stack of these now. And next time, I'm taking you to the actual part behind your dash that sends all of this home. The hidden SIM card that never stops transmitting even after the car is shut off, and showing you what happens when you pull it. Take care of each other out there.